Welcome to day 3 of the Acquire Your Freedom Summit. I am so excited that you all are not only here, but present. Now, how many of you here were here on day 1? If you were here on day 1, type a 1 in the chat. Um, Let me know my OGs right now. Let me know who my OGs are here. If you weren't here, that's fine too, but I just want to know who's here. If you were here on day 1, let's see, anyone's in the chat. Okay, Sydney. Yep, I recognize your name. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here still. And if you were here on day 2, type a 2 in the chat. Let's see. Let's see what we've got going. Let's see who's here. If you were here on day 2, also type a 2 in the chat. Because we're about to go to get into what may be my favorite session, okay? So this session is the third and final day of the current summit, and I am so excited about kind of what has transpired the last 3 days, the aha moments. Hey, Bright, nice to see you again. I'm so excited about what's transpired in the last 2 days. I actually want to know what your biggest aha moments have been. Just type it in the chat what your biggest ahas have been the last, 2 days, because this day 3 is going to be like a major culmination of the 2 days. So on day 1, we interviewed Chelsea Bjornson, and I showed basically she shared how she was able to acquire what used to be her favorite coffee shop growing up, or even as a young adult, and how she was able to acquire with basically no money down, and even get the seller to stay on to own and operate the business. And then we also heard from Dr. Natasha Beauvais, who runs a concierge medical practice that she acquired. So when I met Dr. Natasha, it wasn't actually, no, I met her in a business acquisition mastermind, but she was running her practice. I just knew her as someone that ran her practice. It was talking with her that I then realized that wait a minute, she didn't start the practice from scratch. She actually acquired it, and so we interviewed her for the first for Acquire Your Freedom Summit. Now, day 2. So what were your takeaways from day 1? Type your biggest takeaways from day 1. If you remember them, if I have kind of like, triggered some kind of a memory there. Um, type your biggest takeaways from day 1. What were your aha moments? What were those so that we can highlight them? And then day 2. On day 2, we had the gorgeous pleasure, should I say, of having with us Jason Chrisley, who acquired a plumbing company without any plumbing experience. Okay, he wasn't a plumber or anything, but he acquired a plumbing company. And if you remember those numbers, who remembers the numbers he mentioned? How much did he buy it, and what was the cash flow? Do you remember the cash flow that Jason mentioned? Okay, so I'll give you the first one. He bought the business for right about $850,000, 850, financed by the seller. Uh-huh. And what was the cash flow? Who can remember the cash flow from that business? If you were here yesterday, do you remember how much Jason said he's making from an $850,000 business? Let's see if anybody remembers. Okay, if no one remembers, I'll volunteer it, right? Let's see if I can volunteer it. Okay, it was $300,000. Yep, $300,000. If you missed yesterday's session, by the way, on the dashboard there is the replay. You can go back and watch it. If your jaw just dropped hearing that somebody bought a business for 850 and it's cash flowing 300, that's what we're here to talk about. Those are the numbers that make your ears tingle, because when you look around, you see that a lot of the real estate around you is probably going for around 850 and it's not making 300. Okay? I love my real estate, but when I saw the numbers, I could not unsee them. And that is why we are here today. We also then met with Michael Byers, right? Who gave us his buy box, right? He talked about the 5 things that he looks for in a business that he's looking to buy. Basically, how he filters how he filters deals, and how he's able to just like look at a deal, nope, look at a deal, nope, until he finds the one he can't say no to. Those five criterion, you really should go watch yesterday's session if you weren't on live. But I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Number one, the top line revenue of 1 to 7 million. Some days when you meet him, he says 1 to 10. It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of just the feel of the business, right? Um, Profit margins of around 25%, 10 employees or more, age of the business 10 plus years or more. And the fifth and most important thing is having some kind of an operator in place because we're not buying a second job, right? Most of us here are busy professionals, right? We don't need a second job. And so you want to buy a business that could potentially add to your life, give you free time, as against create new work for you. Now, does it mean that you do absolutely no work? That's not what I'm saying. But you don't really want to be the person like, opening the store door every single morning. No, 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 no. You want to be the owner as against the operator, okay? All right, now before we get into our session today with Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon, if you have a friend, do me a quick favor. If you have a friend that you know could benefit from this, okay? Do me a favor. Think of two people, just two people, okay? Just send them this Zoom link, okay? Feel free to send them whatever link you clicked on to get in here. Send it to them. We'll get them registered later, okay? Because here's the thing. I want to make sure that as you start to make your bank, your closest friends are not left behind. Okay. I want you to have a nice, good old rich group chat. Okay. You got to have some rich friends in your life. Okay. So make sure that as you're doing this, you're calling your friends, you're telling them, hey, come on, come listen. Because these numbers, when you see them, you don't want to be the only person that knows about it in your life. It's the same thing that I did, by the way. When we ran the first Catalyst session, my dad was in there. My dad was in the room. He literally paid for Catalyst to be in the room because we're like, we're not going to make this money on our own, okay? The whole family is going to enjoy this, all right? Okay, and also yesterday, I shared with you all how, for those of you that want to actually, that want to like get focused learning in a very controlled environment in our weekend boot camp. Okay, I gave you guys the link to check it out. Um, Millie, if you don't mind putting that link in the chat, put the Catalyst info link in the chat, so that anybody who has not seen that page will be able to check it out while we're still talking. But if you missed yesterday, I'm gonna go over in full detail after we're done with today's session, all the things, okay? So if you get on the page and like, I don't understand this thing, just hold on, okay? I only mention it because I don't want anybody who may be interested in joining us here to miss out on it. We also mentioned a beautiful early bird bonus yesterday, okay? We mentioned a beautiful early bird bonus yesterday, for those who are hearing about it now, right? So if you're an early bird like you're here right now, I don't want you to miss out. Make sure that you check out the link and you join us in September. All right, so that's like the housekeeping stuff done. That's the housekeeping stuff done. Let me now introduce to you Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon. Okay, so let me tell you about Dr. Darnyelle. Dr. Darnyelle, I met her somewhere in the internet spaces. She is a multi seven figure entrepreneur. She runs businesses, and she doesn't just run businesses. She helps others who are running businesses to grow and scale their businesses past seven figures. Okay. Seven figures, a million, right? Now, being out here in the internet streets, I had been to her events. I'm a coach, entrepreneur, blah, blah, blah. I was at her stuff, rah, rah, let's go. But then I noticed that every now and then she'll talk about the other businesses that she bought. And I was like, she's buying businesses. Yes, I need to interview her. And that's exactly how I got her. Now, a lot of you here are professionals, right? Not particularly like entrepreneurs in that branded word, okay? But I want you to listen to her angle on this. When I was talking with her, She said to me, listen, my goal is to scale my portfolio to 100 million. Okay. She's currently somewhere around 10. I shouldn't spoil this, but she said, my goal is to scale my portfolio to 100 million. And I can't do it just by running my own business. So take a listen. You're gonna be inspired by this. Just grab your pen and paper because this woman drops gems. Okay. When I say she drops gems, she absolutely drops gems. All right, so I'm gonna get this going and we're gonna take a listen. And where are we? Here we are. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm super excited today to bring to you Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon. She is an amazing, amazing entrepreneur who actually helps other entrepreneurs build multi-seven-figure businesses. My favorite thing that she says is, moved to millions. She hosts events. Her business, Incredible One Enterprises, has been featured on the Inc. 5000 list of the fastest growing companies in the United States. She's just like powerhouse defined, and I am so excited that we get to chat with her today. Thank you so much, Darnyelle, for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So let's I've kind of like begun an introduction to an extent, but I'd like to just let you sort of like introduce yourself, tell the people who you are, what you do, and even, how we're even getting to this point of talking about you buying businesses.
Yeah, so again, I am Dr. Darnyelle. My name means the secret place where dreamers go to dream. I am first and foremost a child of the Most High God, and my work meets at the convergence of spiritual principles and business growth strategy. And we work specifically with six-figure service-based entrepreneurs to help them to build the systems, soul, and infrastructure that will support a seven and multi-seven-figure business so that ultimately they can create and leave a financial legacy. Our job is done when our clients are netting seven figures a year in their business. So I'm excited to be here.
Amazing, amazing. Now let's kind of take it back a little bit. Were you born generating seven figures? Did you, did you?
That's funny. No, I did not wake up like this. I was born in the projects of Wilmington, Delaware. My primary residence is still in the state of Delaware. My parents were drug addicts. They eventually became crack addicts. So no, I was not born in and around money. I grew up probably like many of the people who are listening, because whether you come from money or not, for most families, money is a taboo subject that is not discussed. Mm-hmm. It is a source of shame and guilt and not a source of safety and security like it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And so, no, my story is like most people's. I'm one of seven on my mom's side, one of four on my dad's side. They share three children. I'm the only of my mom's children to graduate from high school, go to college. I also have an MBA and an honorary doctorate. On my dad's side, I'm the first to graduate from high school and all the things. Money was a source of contention. I used to hear my dad say all the time, all the things that we all remember being taught, that you have to work hard for money, that, rich people are evil. You don't want to be rich because it means you'll be separate from God. Like all the lies that we learn, that we are taught, and that we are caught is what I grew up believing and knowing. So much so that I was financially illiterate. I graduated from college without student loan debt. But by the time I was 30, I had $250,000 in credit card. Well, maybe not $250,000 by then. By the time I was like 32, 33, I had $250,000 of credit card debt because no one taught me about money. Nobody taught me about financial literacy. And I was on the brink of filing bankruptcy. I did finally file bankruptcy when I turned 35 years old because I could no longer rob Peter to pay Paul. I couldn't keep it going. And I did. And my bankruptcy trustee required that I take a financial literacy course. So within a year of filing bankruptcy, I was a net worth millionaire. And I made a decision that day that I was going to use my gifting, my anointing to teach people about money, about wealth. And my specific gift to steward is through entrepreneurship. And so that was the beginning of the work that it is that we do. Today, I have an 8-figure entrepreneurial portfolio. I have a net worth of 8 figures. And I'm building $100 million portfolio right now.
Love it. Love all of it. Love all of it. Now, when you say that let's talk about what you built on the building side of things, because we've talked about people buying businesses, but sometimes people may kind of think, well, I prefer to build. Well, let's talk a little bit about what you've actually built. Incredible One Enterprises, and then just kind of head into that for a second, so that when we talk about the buying side, people see that it's not like an either or, that they can actually work hand in hand.
Yeah. So before I knew, it wasn't in my realm of awareness and experience that there was a thing as mergers and acquisitions, right?
Mhm.
I thought the way that I would get wealthy is you work. You either work for someone else or you work for yourself. And so in working for myself, I established my company, grew the company to 7 figures, then multiple 7 figures, then 8 figures. And I'll be honest with you, Dr. Kiyogozi, like for me, what would be required, recognizing my goal of a $100 million portfolio, what would be required in the name of Incredible One Enterprises to produce $100 million? Your girl's not interested in doing. Like, I don't want to work that hard. Like, it's just not, I was not interested in the amount of work that it would take. We are a coaching and consulting business transformation brand. So the size of the team I would need, like we're talking working with tens of thousands of entrepreneurs and small business owners every year to produce $100 million. And the size of the organization I would have to head in order to do that, no, thank you. Not interested, not at all. And so I started to think about how could I still serve my mission but do it in a different way. And so I decided that I was going to start looking to acquire businesses that my ideal clients need to serve them in other ways. So if we do, coaching and consulting through our primary brand, and we own a marketing company, and we own a production studio, and we own a virtual assisting company, and we own an accounting and bookkeeping company, and we earn a sales agency, then I get to serve this pocket of clients across the whole spectrum of the things that they need to take their businesses to the next level. And I can do that without having to build a huge infrastructure. And so I started to look at how can I buy businesses that already exist? There's a lot of boomers that are aging out of the market, right? They want to retire. They don't want to run their businesses anymore, and they don't have children to pass their businesses down for the purposes of legacy. Those make great candidates for my portfolio.
Yeah.
And so I just began to really do that work and think that through. And we're in the process right now of buying our first 2 companies that will be verticals for the clients that we serve. We're in the process of buying an accounting and bookkeeping firm and a software company. Those are our first 2 that we're purchasing. The businesses that I bought some businesses in 2024 because I needed to spend some money for tax.
For tax
purposes.
tax
So so I got a couple of laundromats and a spa is what I bought last year. So neither of those businesses are serving the portfolio vertical that we're working on, but they kind of just fell in my lap, and I needed to take advantage of it because of my need to reduce some of our tax liability.
Okay, yeah, you've actually popped open a section that I know a lot of my of people in my audience just like salivate at, and that's the tax can, right? Because you're generating a lot of income on the active side of things, right? And now you're not an accountant, I understand that, and I want to make it very clear: this is not financial advice. This is simply information, education, all of that, right?
Correct.
What about the laundromat made it a good candidate for being a tax shelter without being an accountant?
Yeah. So for me specifically, I had a couple $100,000 that it would be in my best interest to do something with to reduce the smart tax liability. And so each of the ones that I bought were approximately $100K to purchase them, brand new equipment in there. And one of them is just the machines. One of them is full service.
Okay.
And the two of them together excuse me, about $50,000 a month.
Okay.
So I made an approximate, $100 or $200,000 investment to generate $600,000 a year. So I'm 3xing my investment every single year based on that investment that I made. And so for me, I mean, it was literally like I want to own things that everyday people need.
Yes.
Especially as we continue to move into AI, right? Even though as a business coach and consultant, there are a lot of things that a well-primed AI tool can do, it's still not going to bring in the human element that people need when they need coaching support. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily worried about my primary company going by the wayside, but I'm also looking for what are the everyday needs and case uses that people or use cases that people have in order to live their life. And how can I own some businesses that don't require my effort in order to produce output, right? So, I mean, I'm looking at storage facilities. I'm looking at all kinds of businesses, like any and everything is on the table as something that I can own, especially when it doesn't require me to work. In the cases of my laundromats, both of them, and they were not from the same owner. They were two separate transactions, but both of them already had a manager in place and employees in place. So they were already functioning. The books already looked good. So it didn't require me to come in and have to figure out how to take this business to the next level, right? So it was an easy fit for me to come in because it's not going to require a lot more of me in order to have these assets in order to continue to build out my portfolio, have a place where I'm doing a service for other people, but it's not requiring my effort at all in order for people to get the transformation that they need in this case, which is clean clothes.
Clean clothes.
Or the spa, it just kind of fell in my lap. I was getting a facial one day, and my esthetician is the owner of the spa. And she was just saying she was tired being a business owner. No, she knows that I'm a business coach, consultant, and advisor. And she's like, I just don't know how you do it. Like, I'm so tired. I really don't want to own. I just want to work. Like, I want to do the work that I love. And I kind of fell into this, and I'm looking for someone who could help me to get out of it. Do you know anyone? And I was like, well, as a matter of fact, I do. And so, we got to having a conversation first, which turned into a letter of intent, which turned into due diligence, which turned into this could be a great way. I love the spa, right? I think self-care is important. Self-care is one of our pillars in our Move to Millions method, which is our primary mechanism, our unique mechanism for serving our clients. It just felt like a nice transition and fit, but it literally just kind of fell in my lap. It was already a business that was cash flowing. She just didn't want to own it. So I just had to put a manager in place so that she could just be an employee, which worked really, really well for me as well, because again, it wasn't more work that I had to do in order to have this additional asset.
Oh, I love it. I love it because you've now actually had a few other things that we kind of like to highlight to people. That's that, number one, you don't have to acquire, a crappy business, for lack of a more polished term, just for tax savings. The laundromat that you bought already had cash flow systems in place.
Right.
Even though they were going to give you a tax break, they were still going to add to your cash flow net worth, all the things over time. And then the second is, sometimes when we talk about, you can buy a business that people are already operating, people think it's like a unicorn, but there are actually people out there who are willing to just do the work and somebody else run the business.
Yep, the software company that I'm in conversations with, same thing. He loves coding and wants to do that part, doesn't really want to be a business owner. He hates marketing and doesn't want to have to be responsible for marketing. So he wants to sell his interest in order to have somebody else who will run it so he could just be a coder.
He can just do the thing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, so let's talk about the time it took you to find, like, to think, okay, I think I want to get something to save on my taxes, to, okay, now I have the laundromats closed. How long was that timeline for you?
The laundromats were about 60, 70 days or
Okay.
so from start to finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty fast. Now, did
Yeah.
you hire a broker or seek out a broker? How did you find the laundromat?
Now, I belong to a listserv where
Okay.
people list their businesses for sale. I go in, I take a look. If it looks good, I send it to my M&A attorney. They
Nice.
take a look at it, and then we decide based on our overall plan what we're looking to do, whether or not this is going to be a good fit inside of the portfolio. Then we reach out, have that initial conversation. If that conversation goes well, then we're getting them an LOI. From the LOI, then we're starting due diligence. And it depends. Like with
Right.
each of these investments that I've made in businesses, I didn't need to go and get loans
Correct.
in order
Okay.
to secure them, right? With the spa, I actually put no money down. I
Nice.
didn't pay, I didn't exchange any money. We have an agreement in place for them to get paid out through the profits that are coming. So there is some work that I'm doing to help them to tighten their infrastructure and their marketing to increase profitability. And that's how the owner is getting paid out. So I didn't actually have to put any money out for that, which was great. With the laundromats, I had cash that I could spend. I mean, I buy real estate every year too. And just based on what some of my goals and initiatives were, it made more sense instead of to try to go find another property to buy to spend that $200,000 to acquire more assets that I could use in order to further fund other initiatives and things that we might need to do across the portfolio.
Nice, nice. So the real estate is sort of like a holding bin, if you may, but you need something that has more cash flow. Is that what I'm
well, yes and no. I mean, it just
hearing?
really depends. Like,
Yes.
I think owning real estate is absolutely essential for wealth and wealth
Yeah.
building. And, I have, several properties that I own. So, several doors, as they say. And I think real estate is great. Like, I own the house that we work in, call it our workhouse, is my real estate. This year, I'm buying a retreat house. So I'll have a house where I can hold my retreats.
Nice.
It's right. And so I'm looking at use cases for myself, and then what are other things that we can do. I just came back from Thailand. I'm going to be looking into buying a property or two in Thailand that I can then Airbnb, right, for people who travel. Like, so I'm always looking for ways to continue to increase my wealth, to increase what I have, and to further establish and go towards my legacy, but also to make sure that it allows us in our primary business to have the resources that we need for whatever growth and expansion that we need to do. Because Incredible One Enterprises is the most laborious of anything that I own. It's also my baby. It's the place that I love. It's where I effort every single day, as I am, participating in the process. And so for me, like, I meet with my financial management team. Some members of the team, we meet once a quarter, some we meet every single month, and they understand the strategic plan and the goals of the organization. And then they help me to devise what are going to be the best ways to get to our ultimate goals. And then what are the things we need to put in place and need to be thinking about in order to be able to make that happen. So once I say I want to do something, one of my first stops is my tax strategist. Like, hey, how do we make this happen? How do we make this happen without upsetting the apple cart of what our taxable income looks like year over year over year, right? So we're trying to figure out how to do that. And then after that, then, I proceed to have other conversations with other members of my financial management team.
Love it. Love it. So many gems there. So these decisions are not just made in isolation. They are part of an overall comprehensive, thoughtful, guided, strategic plan. And you're not just like, shooting the breeze, finding random things here and there without actually seeing how it fits into your overall game plan.
Correct. Absolutely.
Amazing. I also liked what you said there that, your bread and butter, and I say bread and butter, but like your main thing is your Incredible One Enterprises, right? And so as you're doing these things, you haven't had to, steal time or steal energy and effort from your main thing, but you're not ignoring your overall big picture.
Right. And I'm working myself out of the main thing, right? So I'm putting team in place to do the core function so that I have the accessibility and the flexibility to go and do the other things that I want to be able to do. And that's the ultimate goal. Like we don't start a business to create a job, right? We start a business to create jobs for others.
Yes.
It's not so that we do more work, but it's so that we get to influence the economy and help other people experience a lifestyle and to take care of their families. And so part of that is really understanding that, my goal was never to be the only service provider inside of the organization anyway. Because,
Right.
When you're working in the business, you can't be working on the business. And the only way that you grow, leverage, scale, and ultimately sustain is if you can work on the business. You have a strategic viewpoint that is very hard to have when you have to be present in the day to day to perform the tasks to keep the company moving.
Yeah.
So, and getting to that point is a big part of what has to happen. Sorry, my dog just.
Yeah, your dog. I saw her in the background. I was like, oh, there she is.
Decided she wanted to be a part of it. Hi. At least say hi to the people, ladies.
I know, right? Hello there.
Ladies.
Hey there. So there was something there was something that popped in my head as you were saying. Oh yeah. So and I mean, even doing that also increases the overall enterprise value of Incredible One Enterprises as you work your way out of it. Because as you've already mentioned, the businesses that you bought already had those management, pieces in place.
Yeah.
So the more that's done kind of across your other businesses, the overall, value of the businesses and ultimately net worth growth can happen even more seamlessly. Now, for the businesses that you are looking at right now, like the service-based businesses that integrate vertically with Incredible One, how are you sourcing them right now? Like, are you reaching out to individuals that you know? Are you finding them off market? Are you looking on the on the listservs that you mentioned, for example?
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of all of that. And some of this I'm doing with my brother.
Okay.
But yeah, we're doing all of that. Like, so we're checking the listserv. We're hearing, we kind of got our ears to the ground or have people who have their ears to the ground. They call it bird dogging in real estate. I know you're familiar with that. So similarly, we have people bird dogging for us in business to tell us about things that are coming across. So we started by creating our hot list, right? Like what are the types of companies we want to have in our various holding companies as a part of our portfolio? And so our goal is that every holding company, and a holding company might end up being, 7 different businesses. Every holding company has an accounting and bookkeeping business, right? So not only for our companies and our holding company, but for the clients that we serve based on what's in that particular holding company. And we're looking at our holding companies in various industries, right? So we will have a healthcare holding company as an example, which will have med spas and, those types of places in there, maybe like a fitness studio or a gym in there. And then we'll have, like a marketing and branding holding company where it'll have like the production company, the marketing agency, the sales, like those types of things. So we're building them out that way. And so right now, we're sourcing it in every way. And we have a couple of open conversations. So we have an open conversation right now to potentially buy a virtual assistant company so that we can provide, support to the clients that we serve in our respective businesses, both myself and my brother.
That's so awesome. I just love how thoughtful, and this is typical of you. Like, I'm not surprised about that part because that's just how how you do business.
How I move.
It's like, if you've never been to any of Darnyelle's events, you should, because you would just see the excellence just shows up in just these beautiful ways. Actually, I recently pulled up the pamphlet from the last one that I attended, and I was like, I still have it because it's so pretty. Now, if someone listening is either doubting themselves, when it comes to venturing into buying businesses, maybe saying things like, well, I'm just a doctor, or I'm just an entrepreneur, or I'm just named the other, thing that they're trying to limit themselves by. What would you tell them about that thinking overall? Because I mean, I know you are pretty huge on mindset, but like, what would you tell someone who feels that based on some characteristic that they have, that they are therefore excluded from possibly buying businesses?
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime we use the word just, we're limiting, and that is a limiting belief. and limiting beliefs were created to be broken and expanded. And so the question that I would have someone who thinks that ask themselves is, you know, has there ever been a time in their life where they experienced something that they originally felt wasn't meant for them, and they did it in a way that didn't require that they lose anything? And most people can say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we can think of, you know, a car, right? You used to think there's no way in the world you should be driving a luxury car, yet here you are able to make your payments every single month if you're making, right? And so what we often can find is that the way we see ourselves will often inform what we get to experience in life. And I don't know, you know, whether your community is filled with people who like us who love God, but I'm going to go there because I'm a God girl. That's why I say it as a part of my introduction, right? Jeremiah 1:5 says, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you, I approved you, I called you prophet, and I gave you a message to share. So every single one of us were known and approved before our parents even had sex to create us. That's pretty powerful, right? And we can take that and parlay that right into Genesis 1:26-28, where God, before he had even created Adam and Eve, says, let us make man in our image and likeness. Let us give them power, authority, and dominion over all things, right? And then be fruitful and multiply. Yep. So just your being in and of itself is enough for you to allow your fruit to multiply and create more of that fruit in the earth realm. So I think a lot of times we want to drill down being fruitful and multiplying to procreating, and that is certainly a part of it. Yeah. But just in our being, we are fruit because God knew and approved us. And so just shifting the way that you see yourself, right? The way that you see yourself is going to inform what you get to experience in your life experience. And if you don't like what you are experiencing, it's probably because you're not seeing yourself the way that you should. So beginning to do that inner work, like, you know, how do I see myself? Where did this come from? Is it possible that this is not accurate? If I didn't allow this to hold me back, what would I believe instead? Who would I be? How would I act? How would I show up? And allow yourself to rewrite how you spend your time and your energy in any given way. I think we have, as a people, as a society, as a country, you know, there might be some international listeners checking this out as well. We have so many stories of people who shouldn't but do, who were just, but in their justness became. And so it's just a matter of whether or not you want to give yourself permission to defy your own limits and to create a new normal for yourself, for your family, for your legacy.
That was powerful. Now, if you were listening, I don't know when you're listening to this, but you may have to like hit rewind, get the replay. I don't know what you need to do, but just go back and listen to those last 3-4 minutes one more time. Slow it down, write it down, and think. Because I mean, I might even have to go like pause and rewind and do this again because that was just so good. In their justness, they became. So even in that thing you think is just, there's enough. There's enough in there.
You are more than enough.
Amazing.
You wouldn't be here like if there wasn't purpose for your life. And I believe that the thoughts that you hold, the desires that you hold, they're not your original idea. I believe that they were placed in you by the creator of your soul, right? And so if you can allow yourself to believe the same thing and to anchor into that, then it'll shift. It'll take some of the onus and maybe even some of the overwhelming anxiety that can often accompany having big goals and not accomplishing those goals. It can take some of that out of the mix and open you up to recognize that how you get to wherever is not your job anyway. It's God's job. All we need to do is open up our hands and just to create an environment where he can do the work that he is called to do through us and to create and allow for all the things that are going to add to the vision and the desire to come in. That's all we need to do. We need capacity.
Nice. So true. So true. Dr. Darnyelle, how can people find you? Now that you've blown their minds.
The best way, if you are loving this interview, this conversation, go to movetoMillionsGifts.com. MovetoMillionsGifts.com. I created a special bundle that I would love to share with you that'll give you some insight into my world, my work, and how we move people into their wealthy place. I believe that until your relationship with God, wealth, and success become your sanctuary, your move to millions is in jeopardy. And so I'm creating an environment for people to get to the safety and security that they need to build the wealth that God designed them for.
Amazing, amazing, guys. So that's move to millions gifts with an s.com. We'll post that down below. But again, thank you so much, Dr. Darnyelle, for hanging out with us today. Listen, like I said, if you didn't get the replay or whatever, if you didn't have a pen and paper at the start, I've told you, whenever you come here, always have a pen and paper. Go get the replay. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm super excited today to bring to you Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon. She is an amazing, amazing entrepreneur who actually helps. All right, there we go. I don't know who else is here, but I did the interview, okay? Is anybody, can you just like give me some reactions in the chat? Because y'all are just a little quiet for me. Because I'm over here scribbling, even when I was the interviewer, and I'm here scribbling, and the chat is quiet. Am I missing something here? Hold on. Tell me, give me some feedback here. Let me get some feedback in the chat. What was that? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm not alone. What? I was like, the chat is so quiet. What's going on? Can you see? So when Dr. Darnyelle mentioned she couldn't make it live, I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just gonna interview you because she's just that amazing. She's just that awesome. Now let's actually just sit through and just let this kind of like soak in a little bit. Let's talk about what we just heard. Okay? Maybe just tell me in the comments your biggest ahas because we will dissect this piece by piece just to make sure that everybody soaks up all the goodness that was that last half hour. Okay? Tell me what your biggest ahas from what she said were. You can take it from any angle. Is it from the acquisition angle, from the identity angle? Tell me. There we go. I like question how you see yourself. Yes. Yes. That was a good one. That was a good one. Imagine me just sitting there like trying to like keep a straight face for the camera, but I'm like, "Whoa! What else? What else? What else?" Yes. So when I actually started, one of the things that made me start doing what I did was when I heard a doctor say, I'm just a one-trick pony. And I said, no, we're not a one-trick pony. What else? Give me other ahas in the chat here. Yes, being fruitful and multiplying. Yep. Yep. The level of her ambition coming from where she came from. Yep. In other words, you can use where you came from as an excuse for not getting to where you get to, or you can use where you came from as fuel to get you to where you want to get to. Who else? Who else? These are good. These are good. Being fruitful and multiply. Yeah, like am I the only one? Like you probably think of that in the context of, oh yeah, have more kids. But she's like, no. There's so much in you that the world needs from you. And if you can pass that on to others, either by way of, a business, to, teaching, coaching, whatever it is, or running a business that serves people with your gifts. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Tell me more. Tell me more. Because I really want us to really break this down and really get into it, right? The first thing that caught my attention, if we were to go all the way back to the beginning, was what are the what were the ideas? And I like us to really really talk about this. And I really crave your engagement here. What are some ideas that you imbibed about money from either your family, your culture, your religion? Just tell me, like, what are those ideas? When I say the word money, or sorry, when I say the phrase money is, okay? Somebody type in the chat the very next word that comes to mind. Money is. Type it in the chat. What's the very next thing that comes to mind? Money is the root of evil. Uh-huh. That's a very common one. Money is, money is hard to come by. Uh-huh. Money is money changes people. That's another one. Yeah, that is another one. Okay, money said okay, iPhone said not mine, okay? Money is hard to make and keep and grow. Now, do you know that if these are hidden in your subconscious, this is what is running your life when it comes to money? Okay? Somewhere in your mind, in your subconscious, right? When you hear about money, making money, your mind is telling you somewhere, oh, that's the root of all evil. In other words, oh my gosh, I can't make that much money. What's she talking about? $100 million? Oh my gosh, money is the root of all evil. And then you wonder why when good things come your way, you stay away from them because there is something subconscious in your mind telling you, don't do that, don't do that. That's the root of all evil. Okay? Money is hard to come by. There's scarcity built into that, right? Before you know it, you feel like any money that you make, you can't part with because money is hard to come by. And because money is hard to come by, you've got to keep what you have. So when it comes time to invest in a way that you can actually grow your wealth into abundance, you hold back so tight because money is hard to come by. Meanwhile, if you had the mindset of like money is for planting, money is for sowing a seed, money is for growing an orchard, your hands are open like this, you're able to invest and money comes back to you, you get return of investment. If you could retrain your mind, right? Exactly. Understand, money answers all things. That is a positive feeling about money. A few years ago, I think it was 20, I want to say 2019. I did this exercise about my internal thoughts about money. I did the exercise using money is, and I did it with rich people are. And my thing was, okay, what are the first few thoughts that come to mind when I say rich people are? Somebody type in the chat. Rich people are. Type in the chat. Type in the chat. Selfish, that's a common one. People, okay, over here, there you go. Lazy, okay, okay. Humble, okay. Secure, okay. I will say I'm getting a lot more greedy. That's a very common one. That's a very common one. Yep, that's a very common one. One more time. Rich people are. Who else hasn't chimed in yet? Rich people are. Have no problems. I love it. Savvy. There you go. Okay. Right? But the first time that I did this exercise, the things coming up for me were like, woo, Agassiz, if you're thinking this about money and about rich people, then what are you doing? Because on one hand, you're working to get rich. On the other hand, your mindset is sabotaging the very efforts that you're making. So it's like, one hand is moving forward and another hand is pulling back, right? But when I did the mindset work to work on my mindset, that anytime that I kind of had that thing about money, I would challenge it back with a new word, with a rephrased mindset, with a rephrased sentence to say, no, money is not evil. The love of money may be the root of all evil, but money itself is paper. It's dead men's faces on paper. Okay? It takes the shape of the container that it is put in. Money is not scarce. Money is abundant. And abundance finds me. Okay. So I like literally, and I kid you not, like these are literally things that I had to literally say to myself to rework my mind and transform the working of my mind to allow myself, open myself up to opportunity that could lead me into greatness. Okay. When I did this work, I went from my coaching business doing, I forget how much it was even doing that year. The year before, I was barely even charging anything for my coaching. Like this was my real estate coaching at the time. But by the time I kind of stepped into my identity and valued what I carried, the very next year, we went from doing, barely 7K in a couple of months to now 2020 was when we did our first 24K night sale in one night. Okay. Why am I sharing this? What does it have to do with buying businesses? Because as you get on this journey, your identity will either propel you into where you need to be, or it will shortchange you because it will hold you back. And what I want is that for anybody who has sat through any Acquire Your Freedom event, any Savvy Doc event, any Acquisition CEO event, whatever we call it, that you walk away, you thought you came to learn to buy businesses, you walk away with a brand new identity. My job is done. Okay? If I could have you walk away knowing I am born for more than bills, my job is done. If you can walk away knowing that I am not just a doctor and just a doctor is not even a thing, if you could walk away knowing you are born brilliant and you have proven it by becoming a physician, you were born brilliant. So now you can channel your brilliance to whatever you choose and make your brilliance bankable. This summit was not just to teach you how to look into acquiring businesses. This summit was to help break every barrier that you have had mentally that has made you feel as a doctor, as a professional, this is it. To break every barrier that has made you think, I'm stuck, I have no options. Because, girl or guy, whoever you are on here, you have options. You have so many of them. You have options that ring with millions. You've got options that even rhyme with billions. And what we do here with Savvy Docs and all the things that we do is to help just open your eyes and show you what's possible. All right, so next thing here, she talked about verticals you can buy. Did you guys see how she kind of like talked about the way she's thinking about her acquisition prospects? Did that give you any ideas? So, based on what you do, what possible businesses could you buy that serve the people in your industry, in your network, or are somewhat peripherally related to what you do? Type in the chat. Let's see. I'm waiting for someone to type in the chat. What kinds of businesses could you possibly buy that may serve either the upstream end or the downstream end of what you do? Let's get ideas while we're here. Because today we're wrapping it up. Today we're tying it all together. Okay? You guys know I don't mind silence, right? There we go. Okay. Yep. Medical staffing. That is one that I see some pretty sweet numbers, not just top line numbers, but the margins are amazing. The margins that I see on medical staffing can be pretty decent. Actually, no, am I getting that right? No, the numbers are great. The numbers are great. The margins may just be just like fairly average. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Who else? So medical staffing is one. Home health. Yep, that's a good one. Now, as I give you this frame, as you think through this part, using it to relate to what you do, this is not to put you in a box. Okay? This is not to put you in a box. It's just to give you active things that you can literally go on the platforms, tonight and start searching to see, oh, is there a home health business for sale in my area? Is there a this in my area? Just to sort of get your juices flowing. Give me at least one more. Who'll give me one more in the chat before we go on to the next one? Give me one more in the chat. There we go. There we go. I was like, let's see how long this is going to take. Daycares, children and adults. Exactly. Okay, okay. Now, the next thing she talked about was about the tax savings. Has anybody here thought, you know what? What are the tax implications of buying a business? If you thought that, type a four in the chat. If you thought, I don't know how the taxes work for businesses, type a four in the chat. Let's see. There you go. Okay. Now, as you know, I used to teach about short-term rentals, and one of the biggest perks of short-term rental was that you could use a short-term rental to possibly save on taxes, right? Right? And so when we went to businesses, it was like, well, is there still a way to save on taxes? And when I looked into it, the answer is, oh, heck yeah. It is a resounding heck yeah. Because if you buy a business that has a lot of equipment, you just bought yourself a good old tax shelter. Now, the thing is, whether or not it even shelters your own taxes doesn't even matter anymore, right? Because if you replace your income with the income from the business and then all of that is sheltered from taxes, you can pay whatever taxes you want on the main one, right? You can still have extra. But the whole thing is, when I looked into it, I was like, holy smokes. There is Section 179. There is bonus depreciation. There are different ways you can string it. Your expenses, your interest. When I checked this, there was like seven different ways that businesses could shelter their income from taxes. And I said, "Ooh, we just got the juice. We just got the juice by doing this. I'm really excited about this." And then she talked about owning things that everyday people need. Okay, keeping your ears open, ways to build wealth. You can, by the time we send out the replay, you can go back and watch this whole thing again. But I wanted to just kind of wrap up here on that on that last piece, the identity piece. Okay, on the identity piece. Because what we're putting together, and if you missed it, if you're okay, I'll talk a little bit about what we have coming up in September. If you want to hear about what we have coming up in September, type a live in the chat, LIVE. Type live in the chat if you want to hear about what we have coming up in September. Hint, it's a live event. It's a live event. It's a boot camp. Type live in the chat if you want to hear about what's happening September. Okay, okay, good. We have at least one. All right, there you go. Okay, all right. Okay, so September 12th through the 14th. Okay, take note of those dates. That's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We are going to be hosting Catalyst Live, Catalyst Bootcamp, a business acquisition bootcamp. During this bootcamp, you're going to learn how to find, how to fund, how to scale, in other words, grow the businesses that you buy, and how to plan for an exit of a cash flowing business that you acquire. So yesterday I went over, but I don't mind talking about it one more time because I don't want anyone to not understand what's going to be happening in September. If you go, if you would like to, you know, to join us, okay? I'm just going to go, you know what? Type that link again in the chat, the Catalyst info link in the chat, please, Millie. But it's going to be a 3-day focused strategic training event, training, okay? Not hype, not rah-rah. We've passed inspiration, okay? But training on how to find, fund, scale, and exit a cash flowing business. It'll be in Syracuse, New York, which is in upstate New York. It's not New York City. It's prettier, it's cleaner, it's much healthier. There's barely any traffic. We love it up here. And it's gonna be in September, which means it's pretty, it's like cool. And just if you need to get away from like Texas heat, come up here in September. We got you, okay? We'll be learning of all those things. And if you join us, if you choose to join us, you're going to get not only a world-class education on how to acquire a business, you will also get access to, now, if you were here yesterday, you heard Michael Byers speak, you get access to the very software that Michael Byers uses to search for businesses. He did a demo of it yesterday. I love that tool completely. Um, you will get access to that software. And if you choose to join us even before tomorrow, actually, while we're still in the middle of this, during all of this, before the early bird promo period runs out, you will also get, actually, no, I'm taking this back. If you choose to join us by Friday evening, that's what this one is. I'm mixing my words up now. By Friday evening, you are going to get 8, not 6. Everybody else gets 6. But if you choose to join us before Friday evening, and Friday evening is tomorrow evening by 7 p.m., you will get 8 months of access to his proprietary software that searches for businesses. I can tell you now, after I got access to that tool, that's where I go to search for my businesses because it makes the guesswork so it takes it just it saves me time because I don't have to wade through things that I've already seen before. I can simply filter like on the tool. I could probably even show it at some point, but on the tool, you're able to filter businesses. It scrapes over 840 business websites on the internet. So I don't have to go to 15,000 places to search for businesses. I can just check and kind of see what's on, see what's new, right? And once I do that, I put in my request for SIMs from the brokers. And once that's done, I close it. I'm done. On to the next one. I don't have to spend hours now on the internet just searching for a business. Okay. And if you join us in the next 24 hours, you're going to get 8 months of access to that tool while everybody else gets their own access during the actual event. Now, those who, if somehow you're not able to put it up, next whatever, you'll still get it, when we come for the event in September. But if you come on board tonight into tomorrow, right? You get an extra 2 months that you can start looking at things. You can start getting SIMs from brokers. You could even come to the event with a possible deal that you're looking at, that you're considering, that you filtered through Michael's buy box that he talked about yesterday, and that he can possibly even give you feedback on. All right. If you also join us this evening or whatever, this period, you also get to attend a Kickstarter event that's happening in August with Michael Byers. He's going to be doing like an Ask Michael Anything type thing. Now, what is it about this event that really lights me up? It's the fact that you're going to come in and walk away with a full picture. The reason that I asked Mike to do this for our community, right, is because I know when the mindset unlocked for me. It was at his event. I went for his event in person and it unlocked for me the idea that I could do this. I had done different training programs before, okay? But I had not gotten that piece of, okay, I understand the mental part, but how do you actually get it done? I went for his event, and that was when it was unlocked for me that I could do it and the step by step to like actually get this going. Okay. So I'm really excited about the event. The link to check it out is down there. But the other beautiful thing is that if you take a look at it tonight, you can actually use the code early bird. I'm going to write that in the comments here. Early bird, just as one word, to get 20% off as an early bird. I'm putting in an early bird promo. Yeah, once someone joins your team, is there a mentor? Can you clarify what you mean by joining the team and all of that? Because there is no team. I'm not sure I understand what the team means. It's an event. It's a 3-day event where you're going to be taught how to get things done. But can you clarify the question, please? Yeah. It is a 3 day event. It's a 3 day boot camp. You come in that weekend, you learn, and when you walk away, you know what to do to find your business, right? Not only like, oh, just go on, biz buy sell or whatever, but like how to find businesses on market, off market. That's one we really focus on because anybody can find a business on, on biz buy sell, but it's the off market ones. Like I said yesterday, I'm talking with the lady right now that I found off market. Her business does a good amount of millions annually, right? And the profit is also sweet. I said it online yesterday. I'm not going to say it again today. If you missed it, whoops, come on next time, right? But we're talking, she does over $1 million in profits, right? But she's off market, which means I'm not competing with the entire world on that deal. I'm waiting for her to get back to me, right? And we don't have 15,000 people making offers yet because the world doesn't know about it yet. So you're going to learn how to source deals off market. You're going to learn how to fund your deals. So we talked about yesterday how to use the SBA. The SBA, you're able to buy a business for 10% down. That means that for a business you're buying for $1 million, you can put down just 100,000. And same thing with the short-term rental, but it makes you way more. A business you will buy for $1 million had better be cash flowing somewhere around four to $500,000. Yeah, roughly speaking, right? So you're going to learn how to fund your deals. SBA is definitely one. I mentioned yesterday as well that with a if you are a physician, if you're a healthcare person, you can buy a physician particularly that I'm pretty sure of, you can buy a medical practice for zero down, 0%, big fat zero, zero down, 100% financing. Okay? Those are the conventional ways, but you're also going to learn the creative ways, as they're called, the seller financing, the different things like the earnouts and the earn-ins and all those other ways that you can manipulate deals and effectively get them for no money down. Jason mentioned it yesterday. He did a no money down deal. Chelsea on Monday did a no money down deal. Even Darnyelle did a no money down deal. So if you can just learn how these things are transacted, that's what we'll be talking about when we get to Catalyst. Okay. Now, on the scaling piece, buying the business is just one thing, okay? Buying a business is one thing. Growing it is where some good money is made. Because the thing about businesses is that when the cash flow is low, the multiple it trades for is low. So let's say, for example, you bought a business that cash flowed $300,000. That business will probably sell for maybe 2x. So probably like $600,000 or maybe 2.5, maybe 700. If you can grow that cash flow, let's just say to $1 million, you can sell that business not for the 2x that you bought it for, but you can increase the multiple to 3x, to 3.5x, right? So now you bought the business for 650, but by simply increasing the cash flow by $700,000, you've increased the value by like 2.1 million or something like that. So that is why when you look around at the billionaires with a B, very often you will see that what they do is that they buy businesses. Take a look at what's happening with AI right now. Look at what's the Facebook guy? Mark Zuckerberg is doing. He's trying to build his AI thing. He's not trying to do it from scratch. The guy is going to hire the employees of other AI companies with big money. It's almost like him buying a business. Why did he buy Instagram? He wanted eyeballs. Why did he buy WhatsApp? He wanted eyeballs, right? So the bigger companies, the companies that you hear of that make all the billions, they do this by strategic acquisitions, something that you can do when you join us in, when you learn how to acquire a business. You learn to buy what's called the platform company. You buy the platform company based on, very nice, strong metrics. Make it your buy box, and then you can start to do the bolt-on. So if you heard Jason yesterday, he talked about buying the plumbing company. the $300,000 one cash flow, but now he's buying a smaller one to buy their customers. You can buy smaller businesses. The smaller businesses don't have to meet the buy box once you have the core foundation, the core business. So for those of you who want to buy, a daycare center, for example, like Dr. Dosamu here, if you buy a core daycare, one that is functioning like really well, they've got all the systems in place, they've got a manager, but they've got all the things. You can now go and start picking up the other smaller daycares that may not quite meet the buy box, but by buying them, you can then incorporate them into your existing system. And that is how you now become the daycare in your area. Okay. Abby that says she wants to buy a home health company. You can go buy the first one. You get a home health company that is performing really well. They've got the nurses, they've got the RN above, they've got the CNAs and all the people, doing all the work, right? And then they've got the SOPs, the procedures, and then you can now go buy the smaller ones around and call and bolt them on. And here's the kicker. When you already own one, financing the others is usually pretty easy because now you can go to the bank and tell the bank, look, I already have this one. We have the procedure. Like these are our numbers with this one. This is how we plan to run this. This is how we know that this can be. Even if this business may not necessarily be as profitable right now, but as a bolt on, we'll be adding them to our systems, give us the funds, we can easily manage it. Yep. So the buy box, Howard. So yesterday, Michael Byers went over what he calls his buy box. His buy box is basically the parameters that he uses to filter off businesses he doesn't want to look at. Okay. And if you missed yesterday, here it is right here. So number one is top line revenue. So I use his buy box for them, very roughly speaking. Um, Top line revenue, he does 1 to 7 million. Now, from well, yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna say it. 1 to 7 million, okay, top line. Um, Profit margin of about 25%. 10 employees or more. That one, I definitely, do my best to like to stick to because because like you need to have people in the business, right? Number four is 10 years or more in business. Okay. And the last one is having someone in place to help run the business while you're not, while you're busy with your other things. So those five criteria. Um, yeah. So when you find a business, you can kind of say, okay, what's the top line revenue? For me, if it's less than a million, I stop the conversation. Like I don't even continue. It's yesterday. I also mentioned yesterday that I was listening to something, and I feel like I'm going to share that thing. I was listening to something on YouTube a few days ago, and even today, and there was a quote in there that hit me like a train, right? And it said the biggest threat to achieving your great goals are not the obstacles in the way. So it's not obstacles that are keeping you from your great goals. It is a straight path to a lesser goal. So when you see yourself shooting for something big and then something smaller comes, but it's easier, that easier path is your greatest threat. Okay? Um, so yeah, so even in thinking about the businesses, right? And I think I may have lost my train of thought, but I'll get back on it eventually. So yeah, so basically, as you build your portfolio, you can effectively start with a platform company and then bolt on as you move along. Okay. So as we are in Catalyst now, as we go to Catalyst in September, we'll be teaching you, Mike will be teaching you. Actually, it'll be we because it's not just Mike. Teaching you how to identify, how to plan for the eventual exit because he likes to say it's not the $1 million that you make annually that actually makes you money, it's the exit. Okay. So if you can buy well so that your exit is sweet, right? You can effectively accelerate your wealth building with just a couple of transactions here and there. All right. Now, again, we have put the link there to get to, to be able to log on to the Catalyst information. What questions do you have about any and all of this, including Catalyst, as we're approaching the last few minutes of the Acquire Your Freedom Summit. What questions do you have? Yes, yes. So we do have the replays for yesterday and today. If you go to the dashboard that you may have clicked on to join, the one for yesterday is on there. I'm going to put the replay for day one back on, and then I'll put up the one for today as well. Yeah, they'll only be up for a limited period of time because some people purchased extended access, but they will be up for at least the next at least until today's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, until Tuesday, 7 p.m. probably. Yeah. The September event, so if you click on the Catalyst whatever thing, the Catalyst info thing, you see it on there. It's all on there. Yep. Oh yeah, okay, perfect. Yes. So Mike does have an inner circle, but he doesn't let anybody in there until you've gone through the first. I asked him before, I was like, "Hey, can we talk about the inner?" He's like, "Nope, nope, nope." Because he wants to make sure that people have the foundation, people, because his inner circle, like he doesn't, here's the thing, right? Yeah. I'm picking my words very carefully, but I'm happy that Mike agreed to do this with us because yeah, so he's like, yeah, you can't join his inner circle until you've done the core event. That's basically what it is. So there will be an opportunity to join his inner circle for like ongoing people, those who want to like work with him on deals, get his feedback every week on their deals and stuff like that. But you have to have done the core part first. So they're not asking him, questions that should have been addressed during the core. Yeah. Those are great questions, by the way. What other questions do you have? So yeah, um the early bird bone. Oh, hold on. I need to actually just pull up my let me actually pull up my sheet so that I make sure that I tell you guys everything I'm supposed to tell you. Everything I'm supposed to tell you about this thing. Where are we? No, where is it? Did I remember? See if it is. Let me make sure that I have all of it. Catalyst. Okay. Oh yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. I see. I knew I had to pull it up. So let's talk about this for a second. Um, so chair goes here next time. Just pull it up. Pull it up directly. All right. So you get your ticket to the 3-day workshop with um world-class networking opportunities. You get 6 months of access to Big Deal Machine unless you join us before tomorrow at 7 p.m. If you have a spouse, a business partner, somebody else that'll come with you, um, you can add them on at a discount and when you click on the info thing, you will get to this page that'll tell you, the all the pricing and stuff. Now, you will also you will also be getting access to the document vault, okay? And I think we kind of mislabeled this, but the document vault is just a treasure trove of resources that Mike has put together. And yesterday I kind of shared that I had, put it on I'd put it on Claude yesterday to sort of kind of like see, okay, how do I change the names of these things? How do I actually make the name sound pretty good? But by the time I was done, it was like there is just so much in there. Um, yeah, so as an individual, whereas the value of this could easily be like you really could like run the value up on this. Um, for individuals, it's 5K to attend. For business partners, it's 75. Okay. So if you have a business partner that will come with you, it's 75. However, as an early bird person that's listening to me, if you put in the code early bird, this comes down to 39.97 or something like that. And I think this comes down to six. So if I were you, particularly if you have a partner or a spouse or whatever, this is the one that I will snag. Because with the 20% early bird discount, this is even more valuable. You get two people in the room for the partner bonus. So anyway, so yeah, those are things I get. And then if you have a kid, oh yes, we mentioned this yesterday. If you have a kid that is 18 years old or younger, okay, we already have somebody that may be coming with her 14-year-old. Bring them along. This is how you grow generational wealth because they get to attend for free. They get to attend for free. Yep. Yep, my pleasure. And you get letter of intent templates, other contracts, other documents. I mean, we could go on and on with this. But honestly, at the end of the day, you've got to make a decision, okay? This Acquire Your Freedom has been an opportunity for us to share with you the power of one acquisition. Day one, our focus was on basically showing you how with one transaction you could possibly replace or significantly give yourself the option of cutting back at work if you choose to, or heck, just start building wealth. Day two was mostly focused on what's possible, right? What's possible? You don't need to have experience in plumbing or HVAC or any of these other things. You can buy a business that cash flows, hire somebody to run the day to day and continue what you're doing, basically building for yourself financial options as you move along, right? And now day three has primarily been focused on showing you how you can use acquisitions as your tool to explode your net worth. And I think I like to use the word explode, honestly, but to grow your net worth significantly. Okay. You heard Darnyelle talk about um, how she's using acquisitions to get to a point where she doesn't want to get to with her active business. In medicine, the, if you are like a one-on-one practitioner, if you are the only person, please draw me a map to 100 million with just you as the solo provider. Draw me that map. I'm waiting, right? So if you want to grow your net worth beyond what you can physically deliver from your direct patient care, buy a business, buy a practice, buy a couple of them, build yourself an entire conglomerate, okay? Because you can because you were born brilliant. And billions, honestly, are your birthright, right? Anyway, I hope you all have had an amazing time with me. I have had a lot of fun delivering this myself. Check out the Catalyst event. Emily, put that link one more time. And if you don't have any more questions, or do you have any other questions? Because that's what I'm here for right now. Any questions? All right. I give it a 1 minute in case you're typing. But if you know any friends, family members, or colleagues that need to hear this, that need to learn this, whose eyes need to be open to this, please send this to them. Now, those of you that are still here, would you mind typing something in the chat that if somebody else was thinking about attending this at some point, if we ever had it again, that they'll be able to see, like, what would you tell someone about this event? How was this event for you the 3 days that you were here? Type it in the chat so that way we can use the testimonials for future events should we have them or future Savvy Doc events. Awesome. Thank you, iPhone. I wish I knew your name. But your iPhone to me tonight, iPhone 7. All right. So I will see you all hopefully. Ah, I love it, Stephanie. I love it. That was my goal. That was my goal. Mind expansion. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, friends. God bless you. Have an amazing evening. If you have any questions, we are here. You've gotten text from us. You can text us directly. That phone is in my hand. My team gets to see it as well. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions about the acquisitions, about Catalyst. I will see you on the next one. All right, guys?